Yomi, we're on page 139. We're doing the last of the 39 Melachot, which is Hotza'ah, which is carrying. So, unfortunately, we don't know so much about carrying because we, Baruch Hashem, are blessed with a beautiful Eruv in the Forest Hills. But if we didn't have a Eruv, Haz Shalom, or there's some places that are not able to have a Eruv due to the fact that they have a Reshut Rabim, so you need to know all these laws, because let's say you live in a place out of town that's not so developed and the rabbis did not establish a Eruv yet, so you need to know these halachot, because it'll be asur to carry in the street over there if there's no Eruv. You need to know what you're allowed to carry, what you're not allowed to carry, what to do in certain situations. So it's important to know these laws. Okay, now let's start over here. The beams that served as the walls for the Mishkan, they had to be dismantled when they need to travel and put it on wagons. Okay, so they had to continue travels through the desert, so they had to build the Mishkan and take it apart. When they took it apart, they took the krashim, the beams, put it on a wagon, and they started traveling, following the cloud or following the pillar of fire. The wagons were treated as a separate domain than the desert, and transferring from the ground to the wagon was transferring from public domain to private domain. And also they had to move the beams from wagon to the next wagon. So therefore, this is the source of carrying in the Mishkan that we're not allowed to do in the Torah on Shabbat. So therefore, a person transferring an item from a private domain to another private domain, or a private domain to a public domain and the opposite, that's what's asur on Shabbat. Number one, it is prohibited by Torah law to transfer an object from private domain, Reshut Yahid, to a public domain, Reshut Rabim, or vice versa. This is called Hotza'ah, taking out, carrying. Number two, it is prohibited to transport an object 4 amot in a Reshut Rabim or in a place that has no eruv. This is called Havara, which means transferring over, meaning you're walking 6 feet in Reshut Rabim, you already transgressed carrying on Shabbat. So even if you didn't transfer it to a different Reshut, you walk 6 feet in Reshut Rabim, that's also carrying. Number 4, the act of biblical Melacha of Hotza'ah consists of 2 parts. Akira, you have to do lifting first in order to pick up the object, and then Hanacha, and then putting the item down. And that is the 2 parts of the Melacha. What if you only did one part? Yeah, you only picked up or you only put down, so that'll be the Rabbanan. But if it's going to be both, you're going to be transgressing from the Torah. 5, what does it mean Akira? Akira could be even if you don't pick it up, even if you kick. Let's say I have something and I kick it all the way to my house. So in Reshut Rabim, I transferred it 6 feet by kicking it. That's also considered Akira. That's also considered picking up. 6 is rabbinically prohibited for one person to do Akira and the other person to do Anacha. So what do? I want to be smart. I say, I'll pick this up and then I'll give it to you and you put it down at home. So therefore, I do half, you do half. That's asur midrabanan. It's still considered carrying. Number 7, it is rabbinically prohibited to pick up an item that's already moving. To take the item from a moving person, or if you throw it and you catch it, that's also going to be considered asur midrabanan. Okay, fine. 9, what if I have something in my pocket? I go outside the Reshut Rabim where there's no eruv, and I carry something all the way home with my pocket. Keys is a very big problem in a place where there's no eruv. How are you supposed to take your keys home? How are you supposed to open your door? So therefore, a lot of people, what they do is they have the code. They have a code on their door. Let's say in Brooklyn, right? They say that a lot of poskim say that Osha Parkway cannot have a roof. It's considered a Reshut Rabim. So how are you supposed to cross the other side with keys and whatnot? So therefore, a lot of them have punch code and open the door like that. Or some Ashkenazim, they made this Shabbat belt, or they made a way to transfer your key into an object of clothing, article of clothing. That way, it's you can avoid the issue of carrying. Yekut Yosef says that for Sfaradim this doesn't work. The Shabbat belt with the key doesn't work. Better you should have a punch code on your door. But besides for that, the prohibition of Hotza'ah can be transgressed even if something is in your pocket. Okay.
Why do you say it doesn't work? What's the reason?
So he says that this item of the belt is not considered putting the key on the belt does not make it a piece of clothing. That's not how.
No, but you close the belt. It's closing the bag.
I understand, but he says it's not considered a piece of clothing. It's a kombina. You're trying to do a kombina, you're trying to do a trick to get it to consider a piece of clothing. But he brings the Sfaradim poskim all agree that this trick doesn't work. It's not really looked in Halacha as a piece of clothing. It looks like you're carrying a key still. At the end of the day, it's considered you're carrying a key. 11, an akira is not completed until the object is moved fully to a different reshut, but it's rabbinically prohibited to pick up an item and leave it partially in the Reshut Yahid, partially in the Reshut Rabim. If you didn't transfer it fully, you did it half, it's still asur midrabanan. 13, hanacha is when you put it down. So that's the last part. It's even if we said someone else picked it up and you put it down, that's still asur midrabanan. 14, there are 4 types of reshuyot that we have to be familiar with. There is the Reshut Rabim, public domain. We're going to learn what the parameters of that is. Reshut Yahid, private domain. That means it's owned by somebody and it has 4 walls, more or less. 3, we're going to see 4 walls more basically. And then you have a third reshut, which is a Carmelit, which is a place that it's not. It's a semi-public domain. It's not big enough, let's say, to be considered public domain, but it's considered not private because it's public usage is available. So therefore, it's considered in between. It's called Carmelit. From the Torah, you're allowed to carry there. Midrabanan, you're not allowed to carry there. And then Makom Patur is an exempt area. It's a place that's very small, smaller than Carmelit, and it's still considered public, but it's considered that Makom Patur. You patur 100% if you put something there. Classic example is like a fire hydrant. You put something on a fire hydrant. That place is so small, it's considered its own reshut. It's considered Makom Patur. Okay, let's explain one by one. 15. Reshut Yahid is a place where it's surrounded by walls, the minimum height 10 tfahim, and has a minimum area 4 tfahim by 4 tfahim. Most people's backyards, most people's houses are all considered Reshut Yahid. It's enclosed by walls, at least 10 tfahim tall, and it's at least 4 by 4 tfahim. Reshut Yahid doesn't necessarily have to be privately owned, but common examples are enclosed building, fenced-in yards. You're allowed to carry as much as you want within Reshut Yahid. Okay, good. Then you have Reshut Rabim. What's Reshut Rabim? Public domain that you're not allowed to transfer to, and you're not allowed to walk 6 feet carrying something in Reshut Rabim. A, it has to be at least 16 amot wide. Okay, 16 amot is ama is from your elbow to your finger. So what are you gonna say? Approximately maybe 12 feet, 15 feet long, wide, right? Let's say, or maybe more. And then number 2, it has to be unroofed, no roof. It has to be open to the sky. C, number 3, has to have less than 3 walls. And D, according to many opinions, it has to be that 600,000 people pass through it on a daily basis. Okay, so when do we have this? They want to say that the Ocean Parkway is very wide. It's wide enough. There's no roof. Doesn't have walls. And 600,000 people pass on it every day. There's a lot of traffic over there. The question is, those people, are they walking? No. They're in the cars. Is a car considered its own reshut, and it's not considered they're in the reshut of the street? That's a big debate. And therefore, since some debate and say, no, the cars are considered and the people are considered on the road, and therefore that place is considered Reshut Rabim. Therefore, you should know, that's why they say Eruv doesn't work over there.
But why? Even if they put a string, a white string, everything, everywhere?
Nope. By Reshut Rabim, Eruv doesn't work. What is Eruv? When the rabbis said by Carmelit, you're not allowed to carry, why did they make such a thing? They said you're not allowed to carry Carmelit, even though it's not a public domain, because it's similar to public domain. You might carry here, you'll end up carrying over there, right? This street, this street over here, let's say it's not wide enough, right? Or let's say there's not 600,000 people there. So it's not a Reshut Rabim. So from the Torah, I should be able to carry over there. But if I carry at this street, you know what's going to happen? When I'm over there in the Reshut Rabim, I'm going to say, what's the difference this street and the difference that street? I carry them both. And then I'll be over in the Oraita. So therefore, Chachamim made together, they said, asur to carry even in Carmelit. But if we can't carry in Carmelit, how are we ever going to carry? We need to carry. So the Chachamim said, don't worry, we're going to make a tikkun called Eruv. If you have Eruv and a Carmelit, works. You can make a string on all the streets that are Carmelit, or according to Rambam, you need to make walls. Like in Forest Hills, we have walls. If you make a Eruv on these streets, Carmelit, you can carry, good. but you still cannot make eruv in Reshut Rabim. Reshut Rabim is a sur to carry. Eruv doesn't work over there. Chachamim did not make this isur. The Torah made this isur. They cannot get rid of the isur Torah. Isur de Rabbanan, they can make a tikkun. They can give you a solution, but isur Torah, they cannot. Okay. Big debate. Shulchan Aruch in the note, if you see note 23 over there, in the note, in the middle of it, ruling of Shulchan Aruch, it seems from the Shulchan Aruch and Siman Shin Mem Hey that one does not need 600,000 for Reshut Rabim because he brings the opinion that Rambam is a stam and Rashi as Yesh Omrim, so we always follow like the stam, in this case, which is the opinion of Rambam. However, in Siman Shin Gimal, he says there's no such thing as a Reshut Rabim today because it's very uncommon. Usually it's because it's very uncommon to have 600,000 people one place. So it sounds like Rashi. So it's a contradiction. Shulchan Aruch, one place it sounds like Rashi. One place it sounds like Rambam. The Erech HaShulchan wants to say that really Shulchan Aruch follows like Rashi. And therefore, but the Birkei Yosef, Kaf Haim say no, it follows like the Rambam. So therefore, since there's debate in Shulchan Aruch, does he require 600,000 or not? So therefore, it's good to be strict unless you have other reasons to be lenient. Okay? Good. Now you should know that another problem with Sfaradim is that how do you make the eruv? According to Sfaradim, according to Rambam in 16th chapter Shabbat, he says that Tzut Petach that is larger than 10 amot can only be used if most of the eruv consists of wall. A lot of the Ashkenazi eruvim today, they use strings. They make strings around. First of all, you have to make it that all the enclosed area is by one person, considered one person's, right? They have a formal contract where they rent from the borough mayor or whatever, the borough president. They put bread in one place and they make it that we're all considered connected to this one person who is renting it, and it's all considered one reshut. We enclose it with a string, and that makes it now it's one domain, one reshut. Now you can carry it everywhere you want now. But that's what the Ashkenazim allowed them to do it with a string. And according to Rambam, to do Tzurat HaPetach that's larger than 10 amot, you have to have wall. It has to be made out of wall. So what they did was in Forest Hills, they have Grand Central Parkway with the fence, right, the service road. That fence is a wall. And then wherever there wasn't a wall, so they patched it up. They added walls over there. That way, if you go online and search the Forest Hills Eruv, you're going to see where the lines are. And all across those lines, they entirely have wall. That way, it's considered a good Eruv, even according to the Rambam, which we have to follow. Yes?
Can one walk from here to Fresh Meadows?
So if the Eruvs overlap, then yes. But if there's empty space in between, the Eruv ends here and the other Eruv starts here, what are you going to do over here?
Right, so that space between the Grand Central and Park Drive East and all that.
On Jewel.
Right.
Yeah.
So they say over there there's a Eruv.
Yeah, Shamayim?
They say, you have to check online by the VHQ. You have to check online and see where the map of the Eruv is. If there's a Eruv, you can go. But again, that's according to the string one. In Forest Hills, we have a wall. If you want to be mahmir for the Rambam over there, it's an issue. But let's say you want to be lenient, like the opinion of with the string eruv. So then, if they overlap, you could carry. But if not, you could still walk to Jamaica States. It's just you can't carry anything. You can't bring a bottle of water. You can't put kalaska. Yeah. You have to have the eruvs overlap. Okay, good. So says the. No, pushing it is considered carrying. Yeah. Okay, let's finish up with Reshut Rabim. Another obligation for Reshut Rabim to Reshut Rabim is that the street runs through the entire city. And finally, some say the inner city highway can be considered Reshut Rabim as well. So we're going to continue with Carmelid, Makom Patur, next time. Baruch Amen.